Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher. And this is the crazy feminist news. So, every once in a while, I get some crazy news stories that I find crazier than normal, crazy enough that I will make a video called Crazy Feminist News. This is something I'm going to be doing on a more regular basis now. And in it, I will review a certain number of news stories, whatever strikes my fancy in that week and that I want to talk about, but I don't want to get into too in-depthly, and they'll tend to each be shorter stories that I can review multiple ones in the same video, and that I find very interesting because they are prime examples of what has gone wrong with the world and how it has become a crazy, matriarchal, gynocentric, feminist nightmare for us men. So let's start with this story, shall we? Wife of former high school football coach pleads guilty to raping a 16-year-old boy. Now, as you look at her, she's not unattractive. You have to keep in mind she's wearing no makeup, so she's a cute girl. I wouldn't say she's beautiful, but if you were to throw a lot of makeup on there, you could definitely add a point or two to her looks. And I have no question that she showed up to court as dolled out as possible, so that the judge would show pity on her. So let's see what the story has to say, shall we? She looks like a tiny little thing too, doesn't she? Yeah, men always fall for the tiny little women. Look at them, see this harmless, poor little thing that looks like a victim to them. They can't handle putting her in jail. Of course, she got a male judge, no doubt. Why is it that these female defendants always get male judges? Why don't they get female judges? Because actually, in many cases, the female judge would show less bias in terms of giving her a light sentence. They would be more likely to give her a harsh sentence. So I don't know what's going on with that. Why these chicks are always getting male judges and not female ones. Anyway, a former high school football coach's wife in Tennessee pleaded guilty to raping a 16-year-old who played on her husband's team. This is a weird story, by the way. Kelsey McCarter, 27, pleaded guilty to six counts of statutory rape. Jesus Christ. I got to say, by the way here, what is it about this woman? I mean, her husband wasn't giving it to her? I mean, what's going on here? They're both young people. And by the way, she's married to a guy who's a football coach. I'm not going to assume he's some strapping dude who's got a powerful libido, but he's in his 20s, so he can probably get it up just fine. And she's married to him, and she can get it whenever she wants. What the hell is she doing banging a 16-year-old? What the hell does a 16-year-old know about sex? Get out of here. I mean, I'm sure he knows some stuff, but he's not going to be on par with a grown man, football coach, generally speaking. That's a perfect example, guys. No respect for her husband, just automatically sees an easy opportunity. 6 counts of statutory rape and 1 count of exploitation of a minor by electronic means. McCarter faces up to 38 years behind bars. How much you want to bet she gets 0 jail time? How much you want to bet she gets no jail time? Or maybe like a slap on the wrist, or like 3 years and a suspended sentence or something like that. And then maybe does like 18 months or something. 38 years behind bars before she accepted a plea deal where she would plead guilty in exchange for accepting the minimum sentence of 3 years in prison. I was right. I only read the name of this article in like the first paragraph, and I knew it'd be a good story. I didn't get this far. She will be eligible for release if she serves 30% of her sentence. Now I remember. Yeah, now I remember why I thought this was so objectionable. Okay, wow. So I knew it. I was right on the money. 30%. What is that? That's not even. That's not even 18 months. What's that? A year. Less than a year. 33.3% would be like a year. She won't even serve that. She'll serve like 10 months or something. Holy shit. This fucking cunt is going to get less than a year in jail as long as she behaves. Which shouldn't be too hard in what's probably going to be a medium security prison, essentially Club Med, where she'll be able to play fucking tennis and shit all day. Wonderful! She'll get to spend all day on the internet, in the library, reading, playing tennis, reading a Vogue magazine and watching Oprah. Oh, geez, yeah, that's such a horrible sentence. She made a mistake, her attorney, Doug Trant. Of course, white knight attorney, white knighting for his a client, of course. She made a mistake. Of course, it was a man. Oh, no, he's a monster. But a woman, oh, she's just this poor victim who fell prey to her emotions. It's female nature. She couldn't control her actions, told the Knoxville News Sentinel after the hearing. She'll move past it. She's young. So what? What does being young have to do with anything? Oh, she has a lot of potential. She could get past this and be some kind of wonderful contributing member to society, even though she's a pedophile. And as you saw, her family is here in support of her. Her husband is strongly... What? Her husband is strongly supportive of her. Say that again? Her husband is strongly supportive of her. What the fuck? If I was dumb enough to get married, and this guy must just be some dumb fucking jock, what the hell would he forgive her for? She must have the magic pussy, man. I mean, she's a cute little thing. I ain't seen her body. It's probably kicking, no doubt. Maybe. Who knows? She could be a blob below the neck for all we know, but probably not. But what the hell? So what? So this guy, this cuck, he's a cuck by the definition of cuck. He probably knew she was banging these kids and didn't care, and now he's found out about it and he didn't care, and he's going to stand by her side? You cuck. Good God, he's such a pussy. What a wimp. You know, we in my day called this whipped. This guy is pussy whipped. Jesus Christ, he's supportive of her. I would have left her ass the moment I found out and divorced her. Prosecutors say McCarter had sex with the 16-year-old football player at her home while under her care. The hell's he doing in her home under her care? Between February 1st and December 31st, 2015, including when she drove the student back to his home to live with his family. What's he doing living with them to begin with? Justin McCarter, Kelsey McCarter's husband and cuck, and the football player's coach at South Doyle High School invited the student to live with him. It's very odd. Very odd indeed. Who does that with a student? He might have been in on it. Who knows? Maybe he solicited the kid. Maybe he wanted the kid to live with him just so he could sleep with his wife. You don't know. It's very unusual. Who has students live with them? Live with him and his wife after the teen started having behavioral problems, such as skipping classes, according to the victim's mother. And you know, if this had been a girl, they would be talking about the guy as if he was some kind of nasty monster who lured a girl into his home with the sole purpose of raping her. And he's just this evil bastard. Because it's a woman, though. Oh, no big deal. She's just this poor victim. Yeah, she couldn't help herself. And, no big deal. She'll move on with her life. She'll get on with her life. Yeah, of course, everybody's going to let her. Because she's cute, because she's young, because she has a vagina. Well, she can be helped. She can be fixed, and she's worth saving. Because we all have to wait night for her. The victim's mother said the coach offered to mentor the boy while he lived with the couple. Mentor him. This is not a guy you want mentoring your kid. This guy is a wimp. He's a pussy. A football coach who's a pussy who lets his wife fuck little kids or get fucked by little kids. She seduces and rapes little kids. And he supports her? What a loser. You want that mentoring your kid? I don't think so. His older brother also lived with the couple. But no allegations of abuse against him have been reported yet. He probably wasn't attractive enough. He wasn't her cup of tea. He probably wasn't a in-shape, fit football player. Not her type. Yeah. Good Lord. USA Today reports that a judge ordered McCarter to return to court October 30th to surrender to the authorities. Right, to serve her slap-on-the-wrist jail sentence where she could have gotten a maximum of 38 years, and you know that if it had been a man, he would have been thrown in the slammer for 38 years. She got less than a year. They don't even tell you that. They don't even do the math for you because they don't want you to know how objectionable it is. She'll be eligible for release if she serves 30% of her sentence. Oh, my God. She didn't even get a year for rape of a minor. Crazy, feminist, bullshit, double standards. They come out and cry that the system is unfair if any woman gets some kind of harsh jail sentence. But when there's a light jail sentence like this where a boy has been victimized, the feminists are supposed to be about equality. Well, they're silent. They have nothing to say. Because he's a male and they're evil and he deserved to be raped. Yeah, they don't want to lose their privilege, okay? They don't want to lose their little rape a boy, get less than a year in jail privilege. Utter horse shit. On to the next story. The attack of the sex dolls. And this is, of course, The Guardian, which is 100% feminist, leftist, libtard crap that I wouldn't wipe my ass with. Should we ban sex robots while we still have the chance? Notice they make it very clear that they have the power to do that. Shouldn't that frighten you? That frightens me, that these people have the power, that these feminists have so much power, politically speaking, that they can ban products that are essentially no threat to anyone. It's a free market. You can buy whatever the hell you want. It's a goddamn inanimate object. It's just a big blob of silicone with some metal rods for bones and some flexible joints. It's just a product. They have no right to ban it, no standing, but of course they'll find a way to do so. AI sex dolls are on their way with potentially sinister social consequences. Oh, I gotta love that loaded word there. Sinister. Yeah, that word is so it's sinister. You have to put into your mind that they have to be banned because the consequences to society are so evil. And by the way, since when is it anybody's job to police society? It's not your right to tell me what I can take, what I can fuck, what I can smoke, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. I mean, besides bestiality, of course, that I don't agree with. But, you know, it's a goddamn inanimate object. You do not have the right to tell me what I can buy and what I can do with it. You do not. If men become used to having sex with synthetic companions programmed to meet their most precise specifications, how will they interact with women who have their own idiosyncrasies and free will? That's not my problem. It's not your problem either. The problem that you have is you're a woman. And that if these dolls come out, you will lose all your pussy power and you won't have a weapon to manipulate men. That's what you're afraid of, bitches. And it goes on to say, people are blowing a fuse about sex robots, or rather rape robots. How can you rape something that's not real? I thought rape was like, it's not alive. It's not a living being. It's a doll. This is absurd. That is a stupid argument. Talk about a logical fallacy with a false premise. Rape only applies to living beings, you idiot. Journalist from the New Statesman in New York, of course, New York Times, which is a liberal rag. That fucking thing is losing like $12, $15 million a quarter. That thing is losing $60, $70 million, $80 million a year. It's not making any profit. It's just a propaganda machine now that the global elites own and use to pump out propaganda. Among others, have all reported on this sex robot Roxy, True Companion's controversial frigid Farah, setting a mode in which she has been programmed to resist sexual advances and which will allow men to act out rape fantasies. So what? That's not your business. They're not actually... This is the thing. So now they're trying to find something that's objectionable and then use that as a paper tiger to attack these sex robots and then to put forth a false narrative that has no evidence to support it. That being that if you create a sex doll that has a rape setting, this will encourage men to rape real women. No cause-effect correlation of any kind been made. And the truth of the matter is there is actual evidence to show that that would reduce rape, as in states that have looser pornography laws, there are less rapes because men have access to other ways to fulfill their sexual desires. This is just women looking for paper tigers, looking for things to latch on to glom onto, to use as an excuse to ban them. The sex robot that's yours to rape for just $9,995. Okay, so I don't have a problem with that. So what? You have a moral objection based on zero evidence of actual damage in the real physical world. Your objection is moral, not legal, and it infringes upon my rights to own whatever the motherfucker I want to own. Writing in the Times on Thursday. Yeah. So you write something, you put it on paper, it's true. I see. I'm going to write down that I'm the king of Spain. Does that make it true? The barrister Kate Parker called for sex robots like Roxy to be criminalized. Of course you do. Of course you do, because that's just the first step. First step is this objectionable rape robot. Then the next step is any robot. You know, you're going, this is just the first step. And we all know this. We all know this. They want to use the most objectionable thing, which is a fringe element of something and is the most extreme example that they can find of how objectionable something is to represent the whole, which for the most part is not objectionable. The sophistication of the technology behind Roxy marks a step forward for robotics. Okay, robots. Again, these are not people, and they don't have sentience, you dumb fucking thing. They're just computers, all right? that are their computers stuck in a fucking silicon shell. For human society, it's an unquestionable regression. How? Regression? That would mean going backwards in time, you dumb bitch. We didn't have robots. What a moron this broad is. There's a problem with it. They like to use these words, these buzzwords, regressive, sinister, to stir up these emotions in you, to manipulate you. There's a problem with this story. The robot doesn't exist. The left is just making shit up. Not that they have a point anyway, even if it did exist. The man behind Roxy, True Companion, has been drumming up publicity for his creation ever since he unveiled her to the public at the 2010 AV and Adult Entertainment Expo in Las Vegas. Even though his website pulsates with throbbing Order Her Now buttons, no journalist has seen or photographed Roxy since 2010, and no one in the surprisingly extensive robot enthusiast community has ever been reported as owning one. Interesting. Goes on to say, I tried to meet Hines in person many times over the past year while researching a documentary and article on sex robots, and although he was happy to talk over the phone, he avoided meeting me and asked to see Roxy, and I asked to see Roxy in the flesh. Roxy, much like the replicants in Stepford Wives of science fiction, seems to be nothing more than a fantasy. Of course, the left takes something that could be, makes it into an is, and represents it as reality to scare everybody, fear-mongering at its best. But while Roxy may not be available to buy, models like her will be very soon. And so what? It's nobody's business what I do in my home. It's just fear-mongering to try and create a correlation between a robot that has a rape mode and real rape so that you can then connect the two in everybody's minds and then justify making it illegal. And, of course, if you've indoctrinated people to listen to the words of authority figures and believe and get their information from authority and believe everything authority figures say, then they'll just take what you say at face value and nobody will fight back against this nonsense. Abyss Creations are due to ship the first talking animatronic AI-enabled heads for their hyper-realistic silicone sex dolls by the end of the year. So essentially it's just a head with a recorder in it, with a digital recorder that talks. So what? What the fuck? I could make something like that. And while the sex robots on offer from China and Japan may currently have more in common with push-button talking baby dolls than Ava from Ex Machina, Deus Ex Machina, Ex Machina, there's commercial pressure to get sophisticated models with AI on sale as soon as possible. The sex tech industry is worth $30 billion a year. Yeah, big money. And with 2/3 of heterosexual men in recent surveys saying they could imagine buying a sex robot for themselves. Uh-oh! And there's why they want to stop this. They want to create a precedent so they can then ban all sex dolls or have them heavily monitored, heavily regulated, which will drive the prices up so fucking high nobody can afford them. For themselves, the race is on to make a fantasy a reality, but before sex dolls hit the market, we have the space to ask whether they should. No, you don't. You don't have the space to ask that at all. We live in a free motherfucking society. You try to take away that freedom, I'm going to shoot you in the motherfucking head, you cocksucking communist motherfucker. I have the right to own whatever I want. This is not a communist country. America's not a communist fucking country where you can tell me what I can and can't buy because you object to the morality of it. That's just like saying you object to the morality of the music I listen to because it gives what you consider to be a morally questionable message. And back in the 50s, people objected to rock and roll music because they thought that it contributed to the delinquency of minors. There was no scientific evidence of that. People just made those conflations in their heads and nothing more. They imagined an outcome, and then they pushed that outcome as the reality without evidence, and a lot of sheep sucked it up like a fucking sponge, but there was no evidence to support that, and plenty of people were calling for rock and roll music to be banned and criminalized. This is just a further continuation of that bullshit. Same kind of moral authoritarians who want to control society, but this is even worse because they're trying to stop men from finding alternatives to being with women because women have become such a pain in the fucking ass. So now they're trying to control your sexuality as well. The issue with sex robots in general, but not just hypothetical ones programmed to have a resist function, which it doesn't. What does that matter? It's not a person. It's not relevant. And you have no scientific evidence in any way, shape, or form that contributes to people raping in society. Is how their existence will affect how human beings interact with each other. I know it. Didn't I say that was the whole point that they were trying to push, that would somehow affect how people acted in the real world, just like with that bullshit with video games? How video game violence somehow leads to violence in the real world. And then they did some actual studies, and they found out that the opposite was true. Sex robots are different from sex dolls and sex toys because they have AI. It doesn't matter. They're going to first push it with the AI, then they're going to make cases for how sex dolls essentially lead men to objectify and view women as sex objects that can be violated at will, and then that leads to more rapes too, and then they push that narrative, and then they get sex dolls banned or heavily regulated. I mean, it's not going to stop until they're totally banned. More than just a mechanism for giving you an orgasm, a sex robot is designed to be a substitute partner. So what? It's not your job to decide. You don't get to tell me who I must be with. I can't have a partner. I can't have a partner. I can't have a substitute for a partner. You're essentially trying to govern, to dictate whether or not I have a partner. That is illegal. That is wrong. That is immoral. You have no right. A vibrator doesn't laugh at your joke. Oh, look at this. They're trying to remove the double standard that's being created here. So a vibrator's okay, but a substitute partner, a doll, is not okay, even though they're the same goddamn thing. Look at these stupid, stupid paper tiger arguments. A vibrator doesn't laugh at your jokes and remember your birthday, but Abyss Creation's Harmony model can. This is total fucking nonsense, okay? Doesn't matter if the goddamn doll remembers my birthday. Doesn't remember if it laughs at my jokes. Doesn't fucking matter. What does that have to do with it being somehow harmful to the country as a whole? And you don't have the right to dictate to me what I can and cannot own. But Abyss Creations Harmony model can if men, and it will be men, even the few male sex dolls produced by Abyss Creations every year are generally shipped to male customers. Show me the numbers to meet their most precise specifications. How will they interact with real women who have the inconvenience of having their own idiosyncrasies and free will? If you're used to having sex with ultra lifelike humanoids whenever and however you want, will you be more likely to expect complete dominance in your relationships with other humans? Okay, this is bullshit. Okay? Total bullshit. First of all, you're making shit up. You don't have any evidence. These are just the writer's own fanciful meanderings of the mind. He has no statistical evidence to prove any of this. This is just someone's imaginings, nothing more. Somebody searching for reasons to ban something. And by the way, show me evidence that people owning sex dolls will be more likely to be violent. Well, they can't do that because they have no evidence of that. But he does have the right to give an opinion. And all these newspapers are now is just one big opinion. It's just one big opinion editorial, no facts of any kind. Young people who have grown up in the age of online porn might consider shaved pubic hair and double penetration to be completely normal. It's a doll. It doesn't matter. And you saying to everybody that this will somehow make people less able to be socially interactive with others is nothing more than you fear-mongering because you have no evidence. Period. End of story. And you cannot, and that just doesn't even matter because my argument trumps yours. You don't have the right to tell me what I can and cannot own. That is communism. You don't get to tell me how I can spend my money. You don't get to tell me who I can't be with or what I can't be with. In the freedom of my own home, in the privacy of my own home, you don't have a right to regulate my sexuality, whether or not you agree or disagree with it. Similarly, the generation growing up with sex robots are commonplace might see brutality, selfish sex as both desirable and achievable, and they might not. I can say people growing up in the day and age of computers and role-playing and fantasy games might see fantasy as preferable to reality. So let's just ban all computers and computer games. That's the same exact argument that you're giving. You're just throwing out these might'as, could be, maybes, and the worst possible scenario without evidence. Show me evidence. Similarly, the generation growing up with sex dolls as a commonplace thing might see brutality. This is an argument that's already been disproven with video games. This is already an argument that's been disproven with video games. The argument starting from a false premise that people can't tell the difference between fantasy and reality. And that there's a fantasy world and there's a real world. And you don't carry over the morality and the actions and the viewpoints from the fantasy world into the reality world. It's already been disproven with video games. No more need to explore that particular avenue of thought here. It's total bullshit. Sex robots exist purely to satisfy their owners. Right. And food exists purely to for eating and to quench my appetite for food. What's your point? So what? They're saying that like it's essentially a bad thing. It's not. Is any sexual relationship healthy if it's only ever about one person's pleasure? Talk about... Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's just like saying, is playing video games a good thing because it's only benefiting one person? You're not having interaction with another person? It's just absurdity. This is so stupid. That's like saying, is masturbating a bad thing because it's just about your pleasure? I mean, all these dolls is big, giant, masturbatory tools, okay? They're just a little more real, and they give you a little more pleasure and all that, and that's really what the women are afraid of. They could give a shit about all this stuff. All this stuff is just bullshit. The real fear is that they will be replaced, and they cannot have that. And the state cannot have that because it needs to create debt slaves, okay? And the only way it can do that effectively is to get you to marry women so you go into debt for that woman and those kids and that house and those braces and all those clothes and the medical care of that kid and taking care of the family, and then they get divorced and you got to have 2 households you got to pay for. So, yeah, this ruins all that. Oh, here we go with the more bullshit. Yeah. Can sex with a robot ever be consensual? What? What are you talking about? This is the dumbest thing I ever heard. Consent implies sentience. It's just a fucking doll. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. There's no consent involved because that starts with the false premise that it's alive. It's not alive. That's like saying, can a rock give consent? How about I drill a hole in a rock and I fuck the hole? Ooh, yeah, rock baby. Fuck me. I mean, what are you kidding me? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. This is about robot rights. Then why did you bring up the subject of consent, you idiot? Yeah, I just want to muddy the waters a little more, huh? It's about the kind of sex that will become normal within societies if we start having sex with robots. Now you're trying to throw in a concern for something that doesn't even exist because societies don't exist, because the idea of this big, giant collective that exists separately from the individuals that create it is bullshit. It's not real. Child sex dolls have been banned in the UK. Really? That's absurd. I'm going to look up that story and do a video on that because that's nonsense. Because I have no problem with a guy having sex with a fucking child doll. It's better than him fucking a real child. Why do you think he's got the doll to begin with? So he doesn't have to fuck kids. Good, get a sex doll. Fuck the child sex doll. I don't care. Who are you to tell me what I can and cannot own? That's the much more objectionable thing. I mean, I find pedophilia objectionable, but he's not having sex with actual kids, so there's nothing objectionable there. But you trying to control what he can own and how he expresses himself sexually, now that I do find objectionable, because of fears they will encourage that. Look at it, fears! Fears! You don't act on fear, people. That's all this whole article is about. Fear, fear, fear. They want to make you afraid so they can control you and get you to do what they want you to do. And fucking UK, being such a small, insulated country, island, it's much more of a concentrated pressure cooker of leftism that the people have been indoctrinated even more than in America, so they fall for this bullshit. Oh, and of course, nobody wants to be seen as objecting to banning child sex dolls because they're all afraid of being banned pedophiles. No, let's just turn our country into a communist state. That's much less objectionable than fucking a piece of silicone. Yeah, or a rock. Because the rock can't give consent. Give me a fucking break. Fears they will encourage the desire to abuse among pedophiles, which is bullshit. Bullshit. Studies have been done on this stuff. Studies have been done. Having other outlets actually reduces your the likelihood of you abusing others, okay? This is total bullshit, rather than simply sate it. Sating it means that the desire's no longer there, you idiots. How are these people so stupid? Parker's calling for a similar ban for all sexual. Of course, I told you, once you ban one, once you get one ban in, it sets a precedent. And then that slippery soap turns into a fucking slide. But while we might be able to stop them being imported or manufactured here, yeah, because we can't have UK men walking away from the biggest, fattest land whales on the planet, which are entitled blob UK women. But while we might be able to stop them being imported or manufactured, we can't stop them from being developed overseas. Perhaps the most important question to ask is why there's a market for sex robots in the first place. You people at the Guardian are fools, blind fools. What do you mean? How you can't understand? Of course not. These people in the media are blind. They live in echo chambers. They don't know what's going on in the real world. They don't know that people hate feminism. Men hate feminism, and men are coming to hate women. Women have gotten so fat and disgusting, big fat blobs that are at best a 2, and they want a 10 with the top 20% income earners as their man. They want that guy who makes $100,000+ a year, but she's 300 pounds. And you wonder why men are walking away from these shrill, shrieking, nagging harpies who are these entitled, narcissistic cunts who think they are entitled to a man's wallet. Gee, yeah, why are men walking away? Why do some people find the idea of a partner without autonomy so attractive? Because women won't shut the fuck up, and they're fat. And they're ugly, and no man wants to fuck a fat, ugly broad with short hair, short man hair. That's why. Until we have the answer to that, you have the answer. You just don't want to hear the answer. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to accept the answer. So you just close your eyes and live in a fucking echo chamber. We'll need to prepare ourselves for the inevitable rise of sex robots, which you have banned in Britain, and you were saying you're going to ban them. You. Who are you? Who are you to tell me what I can and cannot own, you motherfucker, you? This shit just gets me so angry. It really gets me angry that some asshole is going to try to control me. He's going to control how I express myself sexually. Is going to try to control my life and tell me you have to have a female partner. And if you don't have a female partner, okay, be single. But you cannot, in any way, shape, or form, buy a sex doll. The woman can buy a fucking dildo, but she can only do that because it doesn't talk. Once it starts talking, then it's banned and you can't have it. Why? That's an arbitrary bullshit consideration. And you start telling me how it's going to lead to rape. How? You have no evidence. And this is the problem with people. They make these assumptions based on zero evidence that they think fits into some kind of gut check feeling that, oh, this makes sense to me. But these people ain't scientists. And they don't know how to use logic and reason and critical thinking and create logic chains that lead from one logical conclusion to the next. And so they just come to these conclusions without actually thinking them out. It just seems logical. Oh, yeah. Violent video game. It's very realistic, so in real life, people will be more violent. No. You're a fucking moron. I'm going to stop talking about this story. I've already spent too much time on it already. And I think this will be the final story because this video is getting a little long. I spent a little too much time on that sex robot stuff. Just gets me so angry, that communist bullshit trying to control the private property that I will own. And using the excuse of it's for the good of society bullshit. Oxford medical student Lavinia Woodward spared jail for knife attack. Go and look at her. She's an attractive girl. I'll admit she's attractive. I'll always admit if a woman is attractive because honestly, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. You were born with a certain bone structure and you were smart enough not to eat too much. Big whoop-de fucking doodah. That's no big accomplishment. I mean, I guess in today's world it's a big accomplishment with all the big fat land whales walking around. I guess it's an accomplishment not to be a fat pig. But to be attractive? No. That's just what you're born with. It's what you do with it that matters. And I'm more concerned about what you do with your brain. Okay, medical student. Good. Now that is an accomplishment. But stabbing somebody, not much of an accomplishment. Lavinia Woodward had ambitions to enter the medical profession. An extraordinary Oxford student has avoided jail for a stabbing. Let's see what it has to say. She stabbed her boyfriend in the leg. An extraordinary Oxford University student has avoided jail for stabbing her boyfriend in the leg. I've never stabbed anybody before, but I would imagine that if I did, I would go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 fucking dollars. But I guess having a vagina and being relatively attractive is a get out of jail free card. Lavinia Woodward, 24. Oh, she's young and has potential. I should just, she get too much potential. I don't want to ruin her life and her future possible accomplishments. So I'm going to give her a pass. Admitted attacking the man at her student accommodation at Christchurch College. Christchurch College. She's a Christian? Maybe. Ooh, not a very good one. After drinking heavily. Oh, I wasn't aware that being drunk was something that could excuse stabbing people. At an earlier hearing, Judge Ian Pringle, what is it? Why do these cases always have man judges? Aren't there female judges out there? I mean, I know that they exist. When I have these women going on trial, I actually want them to get a female judge because a female judge isn't going to give her a pass She's not going to be able, a fucking white knighting for the person on trial. She's actually going to be more likely to give a fair sentence. Why are these people always getting male judges? Why is that? I mean, is there a defending attorney manipulating the system? Does he have a quid pro quo with the court clerk so that he can get this? So all these female offenders only get male judges? I mean, why aren't they getting female judges? Every one of these cases, where some chick gets a light sentence, it's a male judge. At an earlier hearing, Judge Ian Pringle, oh God, QC said he believed the custodial sentence which Since when is her potential some kind of excuse for her behavior? Does it what difference does it make what her career ambitions are? Isn't how you judge her supposed to be like what she's done, not what she could be? It's totally irrelevant. You chopped off your mama's head with an axe, but you're going to be a doctor. I'm going to give you a reduced sentence and suspended sentence. Here you go, boy. Now go be a doctor. What does it being a doctor have to do with anything? This is very much classist to me. It's like society has classes somehow based on your profession. And the higher your profession or the possible profession you could have in society, the less likely you are to be charged with a crime or to be sentenced harshly. Unless, of course, you're a man. And then you're going to get hit with the hammer and the full sentence. On Monday, she was given a 10-month jail sentence, suspended for 18 months. What? For eliciting unlawful wounding. Wait. How do you suspend 18 months from 10 months? What? Oxford Crown Court heard Woodward attacked her then-boyfriend who she had met on a dating app, Tinder. Uh-oh. A lot of them chicks on Tinder can be crazy. Don't ever take them home. Just bang them and go to their place and then go home. Trust me, I know. While he was visiting her in December, she became angry when he contacted her mother on Skype after he realized she had been drinking. Okay, so why is this guy contacting the girl's mother? To tattle on her for drinking? It's kind of a pussy move. Why would you do that? Why would you care? What an idiot. Anyway, she became angry and relatively minor injuries. She stabbed him in the leg. Oh, he didn't die, so it's relatively minor. Oh, I see. So she threw a laptop at him, stabbed him in the lower leg with a bread knife, also injuring 2 of his fingers. Woodward then tried to stab herself with the knife before he disarmed her. I would have let the bitch stab herself. She just stuck a knife in my leg. Why are you trying? He's white knighting even after she stabbed him with a fucking knife. Are you kidding me? This is what's really wrong with Western society, of course. We've become such cucked, wimp, simp, mangina pussies, enslaved to the vagina, that we try to save the lives of women who just tried to kill us. Holy shit! The court heard Woodward had become addicted to drugs while in an abusive relationship with a previous boyfriend. She's got a lot of problems, yo. She tried to kill herself. She's a fucking drug addict. And she studied to be a doctor. First of all, this is not somebody who wants to be a doctor. Not in that current state. And if I was the judge, I would be thinking to myself, she's a drug addict. She's stabbing people. She tried to kill herself. Maybe some custodial care, maybe some time in custody and getting some treatment as a requirement for that sentence she's serving in custody would be a good idea. But apparently the judge doesn't seem to have a brain and doesn't seem to realize that actually putting her in jail and making her get treatment would be a good thing. No, I can't do that because he doesn't want to displease her. You have an attractive woman show up in front of you. He doesn't want to incur her displeasure, you pussy. The case was the subject of huge debate about inequality in the criminal justice system. Of course, the feminists are silent. They only come out of the woodwork and out from under their little rocks, well, they're very big rocks, because their big asses need to be covered by big fucking rocks, to complain when a woman gets a harsh sentence and say, the system is unequal, which is bullshit, of course. The system is totally biased toward men, and women almost always get lighter sentences than men. They have to do something truly egregious, like chopping people's heads off, before they get custodial sentences. So, of course, they're silent. I thought they were about equality. Where are the feminists Now, when a man got stabbed in the leg and this one got no sentence, because what about his equality? What about his fair and equal representation under the law and his right to get some kind of, I don't know, satisfaction from the system for what happened to him? Some kind of justice? I don't see how no jail time is justice for some broad that stabbed you. Oh, relatively minor injuries. I'm just looking for excuses to get her off because she's attractive. Maybe she'll suck my cock in my chambers. Fucking pussy. Go hire a fucking prostitute or something. Prompted by the judge deferring sentencing to describing the attack as a complete one-off. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Killing somebody, if it's your first time killing somebody, is also a complete one-off, and you could use that excuse to let the person off for committing murder as well. That doesn't mean anything. You look at the severity of the charge. You don't look at whether or not, it's the first time or anything. I mean, that might play with some nonviolent defenses, but for something that I consider to be a major offense, which is stabbing somebody in the fucking leg with a knife and then trying to kill yourself, Jesus Christ, I consider that to be very serious. This judge, relatively minor. I've seen worse, so, we heard about this. And I did those videos about that fucking crazy mother that bashed her baby and got off with no jail time and a $500 fine. And the judge had more or less the same attitude, white knighting, and, it's a, not a big deal first time, and, she has potential, and, she's, no, I don't want to ruin her life, and I'm making all these fucking excuses and letting her off the hook. And there you go. That's why she got off. Look at that picture. Isn't she a pretty little thing? And she just looks like this sweet little innocent thing you want to protect. The judge said Woodward had shown a strong and unwavering determination to get over addiction. Who gives a fuck? The hell does that have to do with what she did? Since when does that affect sentencing? I mean, I guess it does in some cases, but not no jail time. I mean, you stab people in the leg, you gotta go to jail. He described Woodward as an extraordinarily able young lady. What? She stabbed some guy in the leg and tried to stab herself afterwards. Extraordinary. She's extraordinarily crazy. You're mesmerized by the possibility of getting some of that poon, buddy. And said a custodial sentence was damage her hopes of becoming a surgeon. Do you really think this girl's going to become a surgeon? Wait. So let me get this straight. We have a class structure in society where if you're working at fucking Burger King and you stab somebody in the leg, you're going to go to jail. If you're going to be a surgeon, you get a pass. That's bullshit. Handing down a suspended sentence, Judge Pringle. I can't stop thinking about fucking potato chips every time I read this guy's name. Said there were many, many mitigating factors. What? What mitigating factors? There's no mitigating factor. Not in the actual act that she did. Oh, she's getting over her fucking... she doesn't want to go to jail. That's why she's trying to get over her addiction. Whoop-de-doo-dah. Whoopity-doo-dah, whoopity-yay. Who gives a fuck? And the injuries inflicted were relatively minor. Really? Tell that to the guy who got a fucking knife stuck in his leg, huh? He'll probably be limping for the next 2 years. Or the rest of his life. Yeah, that's relatively minor. He said she had shown a strong and unwavering determination to get over a Class A drug and alcohol addiction. I don't understand. This just sounds like somebody looking for excuses to let somebody off, where if the person had been a man working at Burger King, he would have gotten a long jail sentence. I find that you were genuinely remorseful following this event. She's a good actress. Women are very good actresses. We men all know that because we've been fooled. Many of us have been fooled by women with the old bait and switch. We know how good they act. This judge is in no way impervious to her charms and her ability to manipulate a man. Whilst you were clearly a highly intelligent individual, you had an immaturity about you, which was not commensurate for someone of your age. What do you mean not? Was not. You say it's still not there? This wasn't all that long ago. What, you think she suddenly matured into a grown human being? She's just learned what she wants, what you want to hear from her, and she's told it to you, you idiot. And she sees that as a man looking at a young woman, you have this natural inclination to want to protect her and let her off the hook, and she's using that against you, you idiot. What a fool. Judge Potato Head said Woodward had faced a possible maximum sentence of 3 years in prison for a Category 2 offense of unlawful wounding. 3 years. Zero jail time, of course. The dean of Christ Church, the very Reverend Professor Martin Percy, said Woodward had voluntarily suspended her studies, so she's not going to be a surgeon. Hey, Judge, did you get that? She's not going to be a doctor. Can you put her in jail now? No. But you said one of the reasons you weren't throwing her in jail is because she had the hopes of becoming a surgeon, and a surgeon is, of course, more valuable to society than a burger flipper, even though the law is supposed to be blind when it comes to judging people differently based on their profession and social standing. But, of course, it's not, obviously, so now she's not going to be a fucking surgeon. So there's one of those mitigating factors gone. Are you going to give her some jail time now? No, because I'm going to fuck her in the ass. Ah, I see. It's clearly a matter of regret and sadness that any young person blights a promising career by committing a crime. Then she's not going to be a surgeon even. So what's the excuse for fucking letting her off the hook? Because she's a woman. That's all it is. All this other bullshit that he's talking about is a bunch of crap. Oh, she got over this, and she's more mature that, and she's going to be a surgeon this, and it's all bullshit. You're just white knighting. The question of her future will now be decided by the university, which has procedures in place when a student is the subject of a criminal conviction, and hopefully she doesn't get back in the university because she stabbed a dude in the leg on university grounds and tried to kill herself. I thought that's a big crime in Christianity. The result of deliberation can be penalty of expulsion by the student disciplinary panel. I hope they fucking kick her ass out, but the length and outcome of this confidential process cannot be prejudged. Well, apparently she can't be judged at all because she's got a fucking vagina. So let's just let her off the hook. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 3 cases of crazy feminist news. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.